Do you all know what's the slogan today? Kick off the dream.
That's right.
So I think it's the right platform to kick off the dream. Under 17 Women World Cup, and I'm sure they're going to do well.
Well, at least for now, it seems the under 17 women will not be able to kick off their dreams. On Tuesday, the Bureau of the FIFA Council unanimously decided to suspend the All India Football Federation (AIFF) with immediate effect. The reason for the action was undue influence from third parties, which constitutes serious violations of the FIFA statutes. Who are these third parties? Is FIFA talking about the Indian government or India's courts or external entities? How is this controversy going to affect Indian football? Let's unbreak this news. India's top football body, the All India Football Federation (AIFF), has been suspended by the Bureau of the FIFA Council. In its 85 years of existence, this is the first time the FIFA Council has suspended the All India Football Federation. This suspension would mean that the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, which was scheduled to take place in India between 11th and 30th October, will not be held now. FIFA in a press statement has said, the Bureau of the FIFA Council has unanimously decided to suspend the All India Football Federation with immediate effect due to undue influence from third parties, which constitutes a serious violation of the FIFA statutes. The suspension will be lifted once an order to set up a committee of administrators to assume the powers of the AIFF Executive Committee has been repealed and the AIFF administration regains full control of the AIFF's daily affairs. In response, the Committee of Administrators of AIFF issued a statement saying they were surprised by FIFA's move. The COA has stated, the COA is surprised by the world body's decision to slap the suspension on Indian football in the midst of discussions going on among all stakeholders to find the best possible solution in the current situation. When all this was going on, the Supreme Court on Wednesday asked the government to work towards lifting FIFA's suspension of the All India Football Federation. The case has now been adjourned to August 22nd. On its part, the centre has informed the Supreme Court that it is in talks with FIFA and breaking of ice is taking place with FIFA. Meanwhile, many players have expressed their concerns over the latest developments.
It's very unfortunate that FIFA has banned Indian football, and at the same time I feel it's a very harsh decision from FIFA to ban Indian football. But at the same time I think it's a great opportunity to get our system right. And it's very important that all the stakeholders, the federation, state association, sports ministry, to come together, get the system right and everybody work for betterment of Indian football.
बहुत ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। ये बहुत बड़ी बात है इंडिया के लिए। भारतवर्ष एक इतना बड़ा देश है और बहुत बड़ा हब है। हब मीन्स अगर आप फुटबॉल का अगर देखते हैं पूरे वर्ल्ड में तो भारत एक ऐसा देश है जो तरक्की कर रहा है अब आस्ते आस्ते, और फीफा ने बहुत गलत कदम उठाया है। ये होना नहीं चाहिए। फीफा नो डाउट कभी पैसे देती है फेडरेशन को चलाने के लिए, लेकिन उससे कोई फ़ायदा नहीं। जब तक इंडियन गवर्नमेंट इन्वॉल्व नहीं होगा स्पोर्ट नहीं बढ़ेगा। हमारे देश में बहुत अच्छे प्लेयर्स हैं लेकिन फुटबॉल में बढ़ावा नहीं मिल रहा।
The only concern is that the FIFA World Cup, Under-17 World Cup should not go away from India, because as a host country, otherwise we cannot qualify. As a host country, our players are getting a chance to qualify, to participate in the Under-17 World Cup. So if that goes away, I have my own hunch that probably that qualification will also go. So that way, yes, we are going to suffer, but it is again for a larger, I would say, changes in the AIFF, which Praful Patel was obviously, he was using as his leadership. He was not obviously a great administrator, or we should be, talking about him. It was his personal property. He was treating it like his personal property, and the way he was handling, I think this is for the greater cause that courts have intervened, but courts has to be consistent.
So why is FIFA upset with the All India Football Federation? Or is FIFA upset with Indian courts or with the government's interference in sports? Are the claims by many that Praful Patel, the former president of AIFF, is behind the suspension of the AIFF by FIFA true? Praful Patel is a member of the FIFA Council. Ranjit Bajaj, the chairman of the Supreme Court appointed committee of administrators, has alleged that Praful Patel had a role in FIFA suspending AIFF. Not just him. Senior advocate and Rajya Sabha MP Mahesh Jethmalani has also blamed Praful Patel. Jethmalani has said, Praful Patel has a lot to answer for in contriving the humiliating FIFA ban on India. This after his alleged role in Air India's destruction by multiple scams and his shady Mumbai land deals with Iqbal Mirchi. Will the law ever catch up with him? So are these claims true? Was FIFA influenced by Praful Patel over its decision on AIFF? To understand this, let's take a brief look at the history of this feud. For starters, the All India Football Federation has not had a new president in 13 years. Praful Patel, the former president of AIFF, had completed 3 4-year terms in office. His third term in office ended in December 2020, but he continued in office, citing a pending Supreme Court case until the court stepped in and showed him the door. As per rules, 12 years is a maximum term allowed for a national sports federation head to hold office. On May 18th, the Supreme Court of India appointed the Committee of Administrators, COA, to take care of the functioning of the AIFF and relieved Praful Patel and his executive committee members from their responsibilities. The COA had to also frame the All India Football Federation's constitution as per the mandate of the National Sports Code. On August 10th, the Committee of Administrators moved the Supreme Court seeking a contempt of court action against Praful Patel, accusing him of interfering with the court's mandate of operating the AIFF through the COA. But on the other hand, according to the FIFA statutes, member federations are not supposed to be subjected to political or legal interference in their respective countries, which means FIFA doesn't want any interference from the government or the courts in its matters. FIFA had earlier also sent the FIFA Asian Football Confederation mission to monitor the situation of Indian football while the chaos within the federation persisted. On June 23rd, the FIFA AFC mission set deadlines to clean up the mess in Indian football. Meanwhile, the COA submitted the final draft of the constitution of the AIFF to the Supreme Court. The constitution had provisions that 50%, that is 36 eminent players, could be part of the electoral college of the AIFF and the executive council. But FIFA in turn recommended that instead of 50%, there could be only 25% eminent players representation in its executive committee. But despite this, AIFF included 36 eminent players, including the likes of Baichung Bhutia and I.M. Vijayan in the list for the electoral college for the general body elections that were supposed to be held on August 28th. FIFA in turn wanted the individual members of the electoral college to come from state associations and other entities. FIFA on its part continued to be firm on its opposition to the inclusion of individual members in the electoral college for the AIFF elections and suspended AIFF. FIFA is now very clear that the suspension will not be lifted till the FIFA statutes are followed. While the tug of war continues between AIFF and FIFA, and whether Praful Patel played a role in the recent chain of events continues to be debated, the fact is that this suspension means that Indian clubs will not be allowed to take part in continental tournaments from now on. It will also mean that Indian Women's League champions Gokulam Kerala's participation in the AFC Women's Club Championship, which is set to start in Uzbekistan from August 23rd, will not take place now. The women have already reached Uzbekistan and are waiting with bated breath for good news. The people who held power for too long are trying to flex their muscles today. The powerful AIFF is also trying to show FIFA how it will not toe the line unless it is absolutely necessary. The courts and the government have also demonstrated their powers through their interference in these matters. Last but not the least, FIFA has shown its clout by suspending the All India Football Federation. The ones who will eventually be affected are the football players of India who were overshadowed by cricket for many years. And when it's now their time to shine, they're yet again being outclassed by the powers that be.